YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy 730 G Weezy. Yo, I had a phenomenal time at the Barber Grammys, Barber Expo, CT Barber Expo. Shout out. Yo, if you guys ever have the chance to get out there, I suggest you do that. It's a great time. You will learn a lot. You will learn a lot. Shout out to Vic Blends. Shout out to Sophie. Shout out to Andy the Authentic. Shout out to everyone that was at the Grammys, at the Barber Expo. I got a couple more shows coming up, so I wanted to jump in, just finish off one of my YouTube videos. I recorded something at my barbershop, just wanted to give it to you guys. I want to show you one way how I execute some haircuts. As you can see in some of my tutorials, I do things different ways, different times, but I put out these videos for you, so you guys might be able to expand the way that you do something or how you execute your haircuts. Before we get into that, I just want to ask, if you like my videos, please subscribe down below, hit the bell, subscribe, follow me, like all my videos. I post them on my social media so you guys can follow me whenever you want. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get right into the video. First, we're going to bust them down. It usually goes short, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bust the number 1 down on top, and I'll actually start with my 1.5. So as I'm doing my 1.5, I'll just make sure I go each and every way, making sure I get every strand, every hair, anything that could possibly be sticking out. He has pretty good hair. It's actually thick. He has really thick hair, so his hair is, it's not as easy. It's coarse, you know what I mean? So I mean, the more coarse people's hair is, the harder it is for blending. I feel anyway. I feel like the finer, thinner hair, the blends come out a lot better, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes people just throw canvases at us and we just go with what we got, you know. So right here, I'm actually using the JRL 1040s. I love these clippers. These clippers are off the hook. Yo, they never jam up. Fast. They cut through anything. You know what I mean? So to put my 1.5, my 1 on it, I just open it up, hitting that, making sure I get everything that I possibly can. Get anything that's in the way, brushing, just keep going over everything, making sure that I have everything cut. Now, what I believe, I'm a strong believer in not creating more steps for yourself. So what I'm actually doing is, I'm not actually going all the way down his head. So I know that my 1.5 is only staying on top, so I'm only doing the top, maybe coming a little bit underneath the parietal ridge, and that's what I'm hitting. I know that that's the only part that's going to be that long. Even underneath the parietal ridge, I'm probably going to I probably didn't even have to go that low, but this is what I do. So just making sure I get all the hairs, making sure everything's nice and clean, making sure I ain't got no loose hairs. And the front, he has a cowlick, so it actually goes back and forth. So I'm going to make sure I go both ways on that, making sure that everything's just that one length. Just work my way around his head, hitting anything that I possibly can. Now, after I do that, I'll take off my guard, and actually, I'll actually go with the 1040s. I'll drop the blade all the way down. I'll create my guideline where I want my skin to begin. Now, let me tell you something about these JRLs, man. These JRL 1040s, they actually cut a lot shorter than regular clippers. So without that blade on, it's getting short. It's getting to like a trimmer length. But I absolutely love these. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to show you half the head. We're just going to fade half the head. I didn't want to make the video longer than I had to. So now I'll get rid of all this bulk, all the bulk around the sides underneath that. I'll just hit that quick. Now, another thing I want to tell you guys is I don't usually like pick during my whole haircut. I usually save my picking and my detailing for after everything's done. So as I'm going, if you start seeing lines, after I'm happy with the appearance of the haircut, then I'll just start going through my detailing, and I'll just detail with the corner of my clippers, just hitting everything. But as you guys can see, that JRL 1040, it cuts so short. Look how clean it is. And you know, it comes off like butter. Like one swipe and it's gone. real clean, real crispy, you know. And actually, when I take my shaver out, it actually saves a lot of time with the shaver too, because it gets so short as well. All right, so right here, I opened up my blade. I'll create my guideline. There's my next guideline. And like I said in the beginning, guys, I don't follow the same steps on every haircut. It depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I won't even put a guideline. Sometimes I'll start with a 1.5, and then I'll start creating my guidelines downward and blending down. But like I said, it's all about how you want to attack your canvas. In this specific haircut, this is how I'm doing it. I'm not saying this is how I do his haircut all the time. Sometimes I'll attack it a different way. So right here, I got my blade open. I'm just creating my guideline. Stretching out that fade a little bit. Making sure everything's nice and neat, nice and symmetric. Now, like I said, I'll just hit all these steps, then later on I'll go back and I'll detail. So right here, I got the JRL 2020 Ts. I love these trimmers too. These trimmers are off the hook. Shout out to S-Craft, S.Craft. Came out with a tutorial saying how you could set these so you could zero gap them and how they work well. I got a chance to meet him too. Actually, past couple days we've been chopping it up through text message and stuff. Cool dude, man. Cool dude. So as I grab my 2020 Ts, I'll just start hitting everything. My trimmers are actually set really close, so I'll actually go right up a little bit underneath my first guideline, and I'll start hitting that, cleaning up anything that's in the way. I'll just take out all that. Making sure it's nice and clean. Even with my trimmers, guys, look how close that's getting. That's getting like real close to the skin. You know, sometimes a lot of people that don't even want my shaver, I'll just hit them with the trimmer and they're like, nah, man, that's short enough. But I'll go over it, make sure everything's nice and clean. Make sure I can see everything, make sure everything's set. You know, you guys need to work organized too. You know, if you're very organized as a barber, everything becomes very easy. Have everything set up, all the tools you need for that haircut, just hit, you know. So now I'm coming in with my shaver. I'll just hit everything underneath that, not going up into my trimmer line, but I'm hitting that now, going around, cleaning it up, using my shaver, getting it nice and bald, nice and smooth. Not creating any dark spots, just hitting that, making sure it's all clean. Make sure I'm cleaning up all this out, cleaning all this hair that's down here that I need to get rid of, just getting that right out of there, making sure it's nice and smooth. Just keep going, making sure my trimmers don't catch anything, make sure everything's nice and clean, nice and smooth. You know, another thing, barbers, it's important for you to have good conversation with your clients. You know, I try to keep good conversations the whole time I'm cutting hair. This is my boy. He actually he plays football in the same league my son plays, so we actually have a lot to talk about every time he comes in. So it's cool, man. All right, so right here I'll actually get my 1040s again, and now I'm hitting that parietal ridge, coming straight up, making sure I'm getting everything around that crown, making sure everything's gonna blend right. Hitting that. If I see dark spots, I'll stay at the dark spots. I'll make sure I go back and forth. I don't just go one way. I'll go to the right, then I'll go to the left. making sure I cut every hair. You know, hair's not perfect, people, so it grows in every direction. So I try to get my blades cutting in every direction just so I get every piece of hair that could be sticking up. There you go, and I'll drop my blade. Still got the one on there. Working my way back and forth. See how my blades are going one way then the other way? That's me making sure that I'm getting every hair back and forth. I'll direct my blades to the left, then I'll direct my blades to the right. Brushing the hair, making sure I'm getting loose ends out. So now I throw the 16th on. Now I'm going to the 16th, I'll do the same exact thing. Look, I go to the left, then I go to the right, I'll brush, hit some dark spots, go to the left, go to the right, making sure that I'm getting all those hairs nice and clean. Working at some dark spots, just making sure I'm going left and right. And then I'll move on. Now, if I was doing the full haircut, I would go all the way around. I don't like switching too many blades. If I have something on, then usually that's the blade that I stay with. I don't like taking my one on, putting the 16th on, then after that putting the one back on, then going back to the 16th. If I have something in my hand and I know that's going to work, then I try to use that for as long as I can. Like I said, try to stay organized while you're doing your haircuts. See, I see that little dark spot up there. Get that dark spot out. That's the 16th. Remember, people, before I was hitting that with the 1/8 inch. At 1/8 inch, there was a divot in his head, so I hit that with the 16th. No, I don't hit that whole area with the 16th. I just hit the dark spot. See how it lightened it up significantly. Now it looks nice and smooth right there. Now I take my 16th off. Now I'm just working on that guideline now. Back and forth. Sometimes I'm having troubles using the corners of my blade. Get that out. And guys, just remember, be comfortable with your clippers. You know, when you're comfortable with your clippers, you know what each clip does. You could look at something and be like, hey man, that's gonna need this to take it out. I'm gonna need a 16th, or I'm gonna need no guard to take that out. You know, get to know your clippers. And for those dark spots, people, don't flatten your blade against the whole head. If there's a dark spot in one area, you just want to use the corner of your blade and just pick at it. If you set it all the way up and it doesn't come out, drop your blade a little bit, but only use the corner of your blade. That's what I do at the end. When I come back and I start detailing my work, I start using the corners of my blades and I just start picking at the dark spots. There you go. Now I close my clippers. Now I'm working on the very bottom line. Going back and forth, back and forth. Nice C-scoops. I know you can't really tell, but I'm C-scooping, then I'm using the corners of my blades, just picking at any little dark spots. You know, pretty much now the whole side's faded. Now I'm just cleaning up and I'm just hitting little spots. Just picking it now. Just picking back and forth. Corners of the blades, seeing dark spots, getting them out. Man, I can't even explain to you how much in love with the JRL clippers I am. Yo, I just feel like they make everything so much more easier. Right now I see some dark spots, so I took my trimmers out. Now I start using the corners of my trimmers as well. Using the corners, just cleaning things up, just detailing now. Making that blend come together. Starting to look pretty good. You know, with a lot of my fades, I never I never really go higher than a 2 on the side. Sometimes 1.5. And then I'll just grab my brush and I'll clip over comb after the parietal ridge. You know, I just try to do things the fastest way possible. You know, you get booked all day, you get 18, 20 clients, and you give them a half-hour time slot. You have to try to perform and execute the haircut within that time. You know, and if it allows you some extra time, it gives you more work for detailing, or if you want to take a break or eat something. You know. So again, I'm just cleaning up corners of the blades. Everything's starting to look pretty good. Just detailing some work. Hit some of these extra dark spots. Get them out the way. You know. Move over to the back. Now we're going to do the same steps here. Like I said, I'll angle my blade to the right, I'll angle my blade to the left, and I'll just keep going back and forth. Making sure I clean up everything, making sure there's no dark spots. Any barbers out there, I would strongly suggest getting these clippers. These clippers make cutting hair so much faster, so much easier. They say it has a self-sharpening blade. The blades, there's a cooling for the blades. There is no, I'm telling you, I have used these things all day and my blades have never been hot. So here we are, just picking up the haircut. Right now it's mostly like just detailing. You know, there ain't too much. I mean, look at that side blend. It's pretty clean. As for newer barbers, I suggest that you really just get around people that are better than you. You know, watch a lot of YouTube videos, listen, try new things. If you hear something on YouTube, on a YouTube video or something, don't be afraid to try it out. Go in there, go in there, learn and execute. Just cleaning up the fade now, hitting up this bottom, getting all that out the way, keeping it clean. Like I said, I'm only doing half the haircut in this tutorial. Usually I would make that guideline all the way around, if that's the way I was cutting that day, if I was making the guideline. Now right here, people, when I start doing my lineups, I usually start from the middle of the forehead. I start from the middle, then I'll actually look at both sides. I'll see which side's higher, because naturally your hair does not grow perfect. You know, no one's gonna grow a natural perfect hairline. You know, there could be one side higher than the other. So I always find the middle of the forehead. I'll tap my blade and then I'll work my way to one side, making sure it's nice and straight. You know, I'll hold their head up, I'll look down, I'll look to the side, make sure everything's straight. Clean up everything that's underneath that. Just making sure that line is clean as I can, clean as possible. Just hit that, getting everything out of the way. Like I said, I'll start at the middle. I work to the high side first. And then when I get to the other side, I'll tap my clippers in the middle, then I'll work my way to the other side, making sure it's nice and straight, crispy. after I work one side, I'll go right over, I'll start working the other side. Making sure I got nice points on my box on the top. You know, I don't push hairlines back. I don't like pushing hairlines back, so I try to keep everything as natural as can. But like I said, hairlines are not perfect, so sometimes you got to push one side up just to get it even. You know, but as far as my vertical lines, I never push it back. Where it is where it is, and that's where you go. I see some people, they get these vertical lines and they push it back, maybe like an 1/8 or a 1/16 or something around that area, and a couple days later they start growing back and it starts looking a little funky, you know. But like I said, I like to make the top of that box nice and pointy, brushing, getting rid of everything that's not needed. I really like lineups, man. Out of all haircuts, lining up a customer, that's my favorite. You know, the biggest part is just the cowlicks. When people have cowlicks, sometimes barbers have a tough time trying to figure out how to deal and execute getting a straight hairline with that cowlick there, especially if you have longer hair on top. But you kind of just have to style the hair the way that the cowlick goes. You know, sometimes people want to push their hair over to the right or the left, and it's just not going to work. But anyways, that was my video. Like I said, like and subscribe. And I appreciate everyone that follows me, everyone that subscribes to my channels. You can follow me on Instagram at 730GWeezy. Thank you guys and have a great day.